it all comes back to how our economy is being affected. And I just want to touch on a couple stories on that front as well. This is the Wall Street Journal. And this article is titled, Government Officials Invest in Companies Their Agencies Overseas. Yeah, overseas. I thought it was overseas. Sorry. Let me say that again. Government officials invest in companies their agencies oversee. Hidden records show thousands of senior executive branch employees owned stock in companies whose fates were directly affected by their employers' actions, a Wall Street Journal investigation found. Now, we've all known about this. I think people have been screaming and yelling about it. And, part of the revealing and the revelation of this fact came with the Pelosi stuff. And so you knew it was going to be addressed at some point. But here's what the Wall Street Journal reports. Thousands of officials across the government's executive branch reported owning or trading stocks that stood to rise or fall with decisions their agencies made, the Wall Street Journal investigation has found. More than 2,600 officials at agencies from the Commerce Department to the Treasury Department during both Republican and Democrat administrations disclosed stock investments in companies while those same companies were lobbying their agencies for favorable policies. That amounts to more than 1 in 5 senior federal employees across 50 federal agencies reviewed by the Journal. Wow, 1 in 5 senior federal employees. It's a lot. You can't bump into somebody in the hallways without maybe discussing the next move when it comes to shorting a certain stock or not. A top official at the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, reported purchases of oil and gas stock. My gosh, the officials at the EPA purchasing oil and gas stock. The Food and Drug Administration, that's the FDA, improperly let an official own dozens of food and drugs stocks on its no-buy list. A Defense Department official bought stock in a defense company 5 times before it won new business from the Pentagon. Wow, that's straight up. The Journal obtained and analyzed more than 31,000 financial disclosure forms for about 12,000 senior career employees, political staff, and presidential appointees. The review spanned 2016 through 2021 and includes data on about 850,000 financial assets and more than 315,000 trades reported in stocks, bonds, and funds by the officials, their spouses, or dependent children. Okay. There's a problem. There's a big old chart here that shows stuff, and it goes into among the Journal's findings. While the government was ramping up scrutiny of big technology companies, more than 1,800 federal officials reported owning or trading at least one of 4 major tech stocks. Meta Platforms Inc., that's Facebook, Alphabet, that's Google, Apple Inc., and Amazon. Okay, yeah, those literally, that would be an easy thing to do. So if you're, part of the committee here, Mark Zuckerberg is going to stumble in and into a hearing. He's going to be asked difficult questions, and he's going to stumble and make robot noises and stuff while he tries to answer, and the stock is going to drop. So what do? You put in a short. You expect the price to go down, and you're able to cash in on the fact that the Facebook stock goes down upon the news. So it's all manipulation, insider trading. I don't understand why. Well, I want to say there's a reason why they're exposing this now. This is part of the Great Reset, the transparency, the exposing of some of the hanky-panky that's been going on financially, economically in this country. This is all part of it, because you can't really reset, can't really get everybody on board the reset unless you expose the corruption. And everybody knows the corruption, but you got to have that actual official exposure of the corruption in order to change it. And that change is where we have to be careful, because you can implement new technologies that are unproven, or, just rely on AI and make things happen. And those are not good either. More than 5 dozen officials and 5 agencies, including the Federal Trade Commission and the Justice Department, reported trading stock in companies shortly before their department announced enforcement actions. such as charges and settlements against those companies. They're not saying they're shorting, but I think they're trying to be a little sneaky about what they were doing shortly before their departments announced. More than 200 senior EPA officials, nearly 1 in 3 reported investments in companies that were lobbying the agency. This is truly disgusting, folks. I mean, truly. EPA employees and their family members collectively owned between $400,000 and nearly $2 million in shares of oil and gas companies on average each year between 2016 and 2021. Now, I find this interesting because that's not a lot of money. EPA employees and their family members collectively owned between $400,000 and nearly $2 million in shares. So are they saying the total they owned all added up together is somewhere in the range of $400,000 to $2 million in shares in oil and gas companies each year? That's still a lot. I'm not saying it's not a lot, but it's, in the grand scheme of things, it's not the hundreds of millions or billions of dollars that could change hands. They're sort of, it's almost like they're feeding off the edges, where not a lot of people are looking. If you start moving tens of millions or hundreds of millions and draws too much attention, just some, to these people, some crumbs, a few $100,000 here, a few $100,000 there, just to help out the fam, but obviously conflict of interest if you're an official in one of these government institutions. At the Defense Department, officials in the office of the secretary reported collectively owning between $1.2 million and $3.4 million of stock in aerospace and defense companies on average each year examined by the journal. Some held stock in Chinese companies, while the U.S. was considering blacklisting the companies. We just talked about that. So then some of these people in the Defense Department own stock in Chinese companies that had just been blacklisted. About 70 federal, and we knew about that. Again, we've kind of known about this. It's just interesting that the Wall Street Journal is sort of exposing it all in an official capacity. About 70 federal officials reported using riskier financial techniques such as short selling. Oh, no, they weren't short selling and options trading, with some individual trades valued at between $5 million and $25 million. There it is. In all, the forms revealed more than 90,000 trades of stocks during the 6-year period reviewed. When financial holdings caused a conflict, this is the thing that's going to make everybody upset. When financial holdings caused a conflict, the agencies sometimes simply waived the rules. In most instances identified by the journal, ethics officials certified that the employees had complied with the rules, which have several exemptions that allow officials to hold stock that conflicts with their agency's work. So there's no excuse here. And, for me, it's like at a certain level, the actual people doing it, of course, they should not be doing it on the basic moral principles of what your job is and what you're supposed to be doing. However, the culture within that level, the ranks, is to do this. It's almost like, why aren't you doing it? Everyone does it. And the reason they're able to do that is because the ethics officials just certify it. And it's like, well, it's illegal, but we didn't see nothing, or, hey, there's a loophole here, just sign the papers that it's okay. I'll just sign it off. Yeah, you're fine. You complied with the rules. You complied with the rules with air quotes, right? So it's more bureaucracy, layers of bureaucracy, just allowing it to happen and not doing anything about it. That's the part that I think is going to infuriate a lot of people. Not that they were doing it. We've known that they were doing it for a long time. Why were they getting away with it? Because ethics officials are trying to delegate, or, they're supposed to delegate a certain level of ethics. They're not complying, or they're not even complying. They're not upholding to any kind of honorable standard of ethics when it comes to this. So that's the part where it's just kind of like, okay, well, it's not like you guys didn't know. You guys all knew. And it's a known thing. So again, why are they doing this? Why are they allowing all this to be exposed now? I think it's part of tearing down or throwing under the bus a part of the infrastructure of our government, really, the U.S. government, and really governments around the world, to create a reset of sorts. Federal agency officials, many of them unknown to the public, wield, quote, immense power and influence over things that impact the day-to-day lives of everyday Americans, such as public health and food safety, diplomatic relations, and regulating trade, said Don Fox. He said many of the examples in the journal analysis, quote, clearly violate the spirit behind the law, which is to maintain the public's confidence in the integrity of the government. And certainly that has not happened. I don't know that it's ever really been pure. Ideologically, of course, the pendulum swings from party to party, depending on what part of history you're at. Some party was calling for a more transparent, situation that would create more public confidence and bring more integrity to government. But that's kind of a hot potato that gets passed around. So there it is. The exposure is taking place. It's part of, I think, enraging the general public to create change. And who is going to lead that change? The young people, the people that are marked with the number 33.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
33 years backwards, 33 years forward.
33.
Yeah, so I have this article here from Business Insider, that's insider.com, and the headline, The Rising Stars of Wall Street Meet 25 Outstanding Young Investors, Traders, and Deal Makers at firms like Blackstone, JP Morgan, and Bridgewater. Oh, it's the next generation of Wall Street. Yeah. And of course, the very first person they highlight is Akash Pradhan. Just take a wild guess how old he is. You said 33? You are correct. 33-year-old Akash Pradhan at TPG. Yeah, okay. There you go. Yeah, the Golden State Warriors fans' love of sports led him to his first job with the Rain Group. The UC Berkeley graduate joined the boutique investment bank in 2011, not knowing much about what the firm did because the Rain Group's focus on sports, media, and entertainment, he told Insider. Great. He was a young guy. He left Rain for TPG in 2013 and has been with the $127 billion private equity ever since. Yay. There you go. He's a private TPG Capital, private equity firm. And just manage 127 billion. No biggie. 33 years old. See, let's keep going here because, there's another one, Alexander Lucas, 28 years old, Barclays. I think there's like a credit thing. Then there's Allison Boxer, 29 at PIMCO. And then Amy Chen, 35, Moelis and Company. And here we go. Angel Pushum, 33, Warburg Pincus. And then let's continue on here. Oh, look, there's Brian Holm, 33, Blackstone, not BlackRock, Blackstone. And by the way, all these 33-year-olds are, I will say, not of the European descent. Let's just say that. They are of Asian descent, India or, I think Chinese, are some of these guys. Akash Pradhan, Indian, that's 33. That was the first one. I'm just going over this real quick, just to do a little profiling on some of this. Angel Pushum, I don't exactly know, maybe Taiwanese, Vietnamese, 33, Warburg. Blackstone, Brian Holm, looks Chinese or Korean or something. Yeah, so there you go. Let's just keep going because there's more. There is Chao Jia, 30 at Man Numeric. Oh, Man Numeric, okay. That was his number, 666. Then there's David Israel, 27, Credit Suisse. Didn't they almost default a couple weeks ago? Maybe this guy was David Israel, 27-year-old, was steering that ship, and it almost went haywire. Let me keep going here. Erica Britton, 35, Morgan Stanley, the first European descent Caucasian person that I've seen on the list here. Jason Lightning, 29 years old, Goldman Sachs Asset Management, is a black guy. Jay Jacobs of BlackRock, 32 years old, close. Julia Dworkin at Jefferies is 30. I know there's more 33s in here. Julia Pay, 32 at Fidelity. Julie Bowe, 34 at Wells Fargo. We're going to go through this because just real quick, it's important to say Kathleen Lauder, 35 at KKR. Another one from JP Morgan at 29. Naveen Shahani, Apollo Global Management, 32 years old. And Noah Zarance, 33 years old, Bank of America. There's a fourth 33, I think. And let's see, Millennium Management, another 34-year-old. Oh, here we go. Rachesh Shah, 33 years old at PJT Partners. And Samuel Haber, Bridgewater Associates, another 33-year-old. And another 34-year-old at Citi, 32-year-old at Trian Fund Management. Man, they're just really right around that. And then Vahe Musoyan, 33 years old, Citadel Securities. And so if you total the number of 33-year-olds out of this list of 25 under 35, next wave of Wall Street in this article, how many do you think the insider highlighted? Now, they're all kind of around the age of 33. But the number of people that are 33 years old in this article, 7. 7. Pretty important number when it comes to the Bible and signals, a form of perfection or completeness. Very interesting. So 7 out of the 25 young investors, traders, and deal makers at firms like Blackstone, JP Morgan, and Bridgewater, the rising stars of Wall Street, are 33 years old. Ain't that something? Can't make it up. But these are the people that are going to make it. Truth tellers are not going to make it. And the blueprint for that is summarized in this story from ctpublic.org. This is breaking, I think, today. This headline here: Alex Jones owes nearly $1 billion for Sandy Hook lies. Connecticut jury rules. The unanimous verdict of $965 million was released Wednesday afternoon. Oh my gosh. How is Alex Jones going to pay $965 million to these people? I don't know how much he's worth, but I doubt he's worth $965 million. He could be. I don't think he's near the billions, but my gosh, that is a lot of money, folks. I just suck this guy dry. And this is Alex Jones is his whole model is, it's not exactly value for value. It is a little bit, but it's also, selling products, the male brain enhancement stuff and the body stuff and products. It's part of his business model. So yeah, kind of interesting. Alex Jones will owe families of victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting $965 million for promoting the lie that the Sandy Hook school shooting was a hoax, a Connecticut jury determined Wednesday afternoon. The 6-member jury reached a unanimous verdict awarding tens of millions of dollars to each of the 15 plaintiffs in the case. Jurors spent days deliberating how much money Jones owed. A judge last year found Jones and his company liable by default for defaming and inflicting emotional distress on the plaintiffs' 20 children. Okay, we know about the story. And yeah, that's wow. Okay, so this makes it very difficult to be financial supporters of InfoWars and Alex Jones because you just know that whenever you buy his brain juice thing or whatever, it's all just going to the Sandy Hook families, until he's done. So, wow. I don't know if Alex Jones is able to appeal this. I would imagine he's able to before they, really enforce it. But it's just interesting to see the range here of economic rattling going on, whether it be with other countries or within our own government, the corruption being exposed there, or on the other side, the so-called, I'm not saying Alex Jones is like this perfect truth teller guy. I'm saying he sort of commercialized the alt space, the truther thing. He was doing it for a long time, whatever. He became very popular. So it's sort of controlling both sides of the conversation, which is what the elite controllers do. They control both sides. It's not just the mainstream, the main public outlets. They also control the underground, the underground trade and things of that nature. So no surprises. It's just, you got to pay attention to all the things, which is why we here at Canary Cry NewsTalk keep it value for value. We don't want to be subject to this type of thing. And, I suppose, if you get big enough like Alex Jones and you say things, you can get sued for saying them. But also, he had his opinions. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he was telling people to physically go out there and do something to these families or something. It's like not believing something. Sure. Okay. But it just sets a very dangerous precedent. And I felt that the whole character of Alex Jones, at least in the last decade, has been that. He's been the scapegoat to model the consequences of anybody who tries to tell the truth. It doesn't matter if Alex Jones was telling the absolute truth or not. It's just more of, hey, he's the guy we're going to pick to make as an example. So if you want to, speak truth, speak your opinions, just beware. Don't get too big because, you might have consequences for what you say.